Okay, welcome everyone.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can you make me a host?
Oh, yep. I sure will. All right. Sorry, you all. We are rocking and rolling. Some technical difficulties, but I think we've got it now. Welcome you all to tonight's Creating Posters and Presentations workshop. By a show of emotions, how many of you all are presenting at Showcase or one of the other UK research days coming up? Awesome. Well, then you all are at the right place. You've come to the right workshop. My name is Jessie Bowman. I am the Program and Marketing Specialist in the Office of Undergraduate Research. And today I am joined by two of our amazing research ambassadors who have a lot of experience creating posters and presentations as well as presenting. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, sharing a little bit about them, their types of research, and their mentor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Emily. I work in the departments of sociology, philosophy, and neuroscience. And my primary research right now is with Dr. Rosie Musnick, doing some research on modern universities and kind of economy and financial insecurity. And I really look forward to be able to help you all in any way possible on poster presenting or oral presentation.
Hey guys, I'm Avery. I'm a senior in agricultural and medical biotechnology. I do my research with Dr. Preetha Sridhas in the Department of Pharmacology and Nutritional Sciences in the College of Medicine. And right now we are working on lots of different things, but my research specializes in a protein called serum amyloid A and how it works in the cardiovascular system. And I'm just gonna second what Emily said. I'm here to help you guys tonight and until Showcase and after, of course.
Thank you so much, Avery and Emily. All right, so you all, we are gonna get started. Emily's going to kick us off, and then the way this workshop is set up is that we'll go through some design basics, tips, pointers, and then we're actually going to apply what the ambassadors are teaching you, and we're going to evaluate some posters and presentations as well, just so you all have an idea of what things to do and what things to avoid. All right, so Emily, go ahead and kick us off.
So here are some questions to answer before and during the time that you are working on a presentation of any kind. I make sure to ask myself these questions when I'm editing things too, if you ever get to that point. First, what is the scholarly or what is your research question? I think that's first and foremost kind of what you need to be addressing. And why is that research question important? So for me, in my work with Dr. Musnick, our research question is, why is it that so many students are at the point of either dropping out of college at record numbers, phasing through college processes, and have so many different traumas when it comes to their college experience? And why is our research question important? Well, it's impacting two major generations right now. So hoping to get at some kind of public policy moment of why tuition is raising, what students are encountering on a modern university, why consumerism hurts them. Next, what specific methods were used? That's what people want to hear about. That's going to be a whole section of your presentation when you give it to people. So for us, that was explaining to people what an oral history interview is, meaning you find somebody who's willing to talk for a while and you go for some guided questions and have a discussion with them, hoping to elicit what is maybe sometimes an hour, sometimes less, sometimes more of detailed work. You're wanting to get people that are reporting essentially to you. And then why are these things unique? Why are they important? I have to convince people regularly and remind them that not everybody's doing a project like this. Not everybody has interviewed students across, multiple campuses of the United States and taken pictures of them and gotten to know them. So there's uniqueness in our project. There's value to it. How does this relate to other scholarly work or other research in the field? Well, there's lots of people that are writing papers right now on economic instability or financial insecurity or other traumatic processes when it comes to students. And they have secondary data that they can offer us. So ultimately, we're related to them in a sense. And we have work that we can kind of go off of and then add to, and then what comes next. So what is our goal out of this? What do we think that will be coming up? And all of these will fill out your presentation if you know how to answer these questions. Some planning to do, whether you're doing a poster presentation or an oral presentation. Are you presenting this virtually or in person is a big one now. I've done both. It'll be one of the first times that I've presented in person again when Showcase is coming up. I just did my most recent one in person. And presenting virtually is a whole nother ballgame. I definitely have used more slides when I've been presenting virtually than I have been when I'm in person because I have to rely on them a little bit more. Choosing your poster style and your poster size. One big thing to point out here is that we have great poster templates. I would use those if you're ever in doubt at all. They look phenomenal. It's also a really nice streamlined way to participate in what is University of Kentucky research. I personally always love taking my slides and my poster template everywhere with nice blue lines at the top and a university logo. It just feels great. And then your poster size. Ultimately, some of this, if you've signed up for Showcase, you need to make sure that it's within a certain size just because of what we have capacity to print if you'd like that free printing. And then PowerPoint or between Google Slides. If you're going to be submitting documents to other people to share for presenting, PowerPoints are preferred. You can take those from Google Slides though and just download them as a PowerPoint. So you can work in there. And if you're looking for something cute, I would recommend SlidesGo for really good slides that you can download to either one of those platforms, and we'll give you a little bit of kind of design.
Emily, I'm going to jump in here real quick, you all.
Mm-hmm.
So if you design your poster, if you are designing a poster, if you design it in Google Slides, when you download it in PowerPoint, just be sure to double check your margins because sometimes when you download it from Google Slides to a PowerPoint, it kind of shifts things out of alignment. So just be sure to double check that before you upload it for the free printing. All right.
That is super true. I've encountered that myself. Don't make the same mistake. So good design makes for an effective poster or for effective slides. Try to decide on one concept or one question. Limit yourself a little bit. So for me, part of my research has involved sub-themes, so to speak. You go into it maybe with one primary thing, but you come out with maybe a couple of different sub-themes. I have to choose which one I'm going to roll with. Definitely keep things aligned there. And then make sure that somebody that's outside of your field is able to read your poster and understand some of the main points of it. Of course, this will depend on, where you're going and who your audience is, to what extent that you do it. Someplace like Showcase, if you're going to be presenting, think about a very broad undergraduate audience at large, potentially. Think about faculty members from all kinds of departments that might want to talk to you, or people that work at the university. I got people coming up to me asking me questions that just happened to work in SOA and were walking around and wanted to know more. And it really helped that I had language on there that was not field specific for them, and something that they could stand and read and understand what I was getting at. So here are some traditional design layouts. This is kind of like what I was talking about, with like blue headers and UK logos, a really nice sense of organization there. Mine in the past kind of looked like the one on the left, although I adore the one on the right. I truly think bubbles and like really innovative ways to display data are interesting to people. I need to revamp mine. But mine on the left, you can see the layout flow kind of going down, up to down, from left to right. That's exactly how I did mine, with references and thank yous kind of at the very bottom right, intro at the very top left, some of the nitty gritty of methods and findings in that middle to right side. And then you can see how people have layered what departments they're in or their mentors up at the top. Both of these are really phenomenal. Here is a great example of one of our poster presentations from the past. Oh, and Jesse, we've got a question. Will the recording and/or slides be posted after this? Yes, Jesse is nodding yes.
One thing I want to point out about this poster is that it's okay to use colors. It's absolutely okay. You don't have to stick with the blue. But one of the things that Emily's going to touch on here in just a few minutes is the fact that the text is supporting the graphics. So keep that in mind as we move forward.
This is a design layout system called the Morrison design layout. And you can kind of see here how it's divided things, like I mentioned earlier, into intro, methods, results, further discussion, and places for tables and figures that you might need to use. I've got a layout fairly similar to this. And you want your main finding to be somewhere, like we said, that was readable, by emphasizing important words that are in it or adding graphics and photos when you have them. I did a research presentation with the Learning Lab at one point, and working in archival research, there were a lot of opportunities to take pictures and show actual documents that were then worked from. So I made sure that kind of in that section there, I had photos with like figure 1 or figure 2 descriptions underneath it of what I had transcribed from, was able to highlight on top of those pictures or make circles on them to make it obvious for people to see where things had been extracted from. You can even do cool things and show like a zoomed in clip of something like directly beneath it. So a lot of different opportunities and options that you have to make your design layout unique and to fit your work, but also to fit something that's standardized in a sense that is easy to read. Find a way to balance both. And this is a good example of the Morrison poster layout, where you've got that explanation somewhere in the middle that's super easy to read. So you're seeing women with higher PTSD symptoms and greater fear of emotion reported less confidence in their ability to handle their emotions in the context of trauma memories. And that is something that is a fairly easy thesis to summarize. And you can read that from a far distance before you even see the text that's on the sides. And you can see even in like the measures section there, they've got bullet pointed and bolded text. So I can see pretty immediately what their 3 measures are, and I'm not reading a text wall. Seeing another question, if we're currently working on a research project that is unfinished or does not have specific results yet, how can this look differently on a poster? That's a great question. I don't want to take that over somebody else, but if I can help with it, I did my first showcase that way. I did a project that was unfinished and did not have results yet, and was really in many ways in its early stages, where I had a research question in mind and was pursuing that entry level of interviewing some people, but was really going through literature reviews even at that time. So for me, what came up on kind of like my right side was next steps. and just letting people know what I had intended to do, or where I thought those public policy directions or the importance could go. And I filled up space with that. It did not look shabby by any means. So many people helped me with it. And I am so proud of that poster. I still keep it because it was a first step in the process. But yeah, no, if you're nervous about presenting something that doesn't have what you consider, clear-cut results yet, or something that you've tied up nice, neat with a bow, do not worry. Just state what you've done so far and what direction you see things going in. And then those sections will take care of themselves for you later. Oh yeah, no problem. I hope so. And if you need to see an example at any time, I'm happy to show you mine, even though it's old. So one thing to keep in mind here is your text sizes. This was something that was difficult and really important, especially for my Learning Lab project. You can see kind of examples of what standard size fonts look like here. You're really going to have to use probably a bigger font than you think you're going to have to for these posters. I personally am not able to get away with, a Times New Roman 12 on a poster. You're going to have to vary those sizes too. I highly suggest not using the same text size for headers and subheaders. Be sure to use a big one for that title. Make sure your name is readable. I mean, I made the mistake early on of making my title really big and making me really small. And then I felt bad when people had to ask what my name was or who my mentor was. So give yourself a little bit of that spotlight at the top. But yeah, choose wisely what you highlight and what you give sides to. And we've got suggestions here on where you hierarchize those. One thing to keep in mind for accessibility is the color scheme that you do use. We've got an example coming up that you'll be able to see later, but avoiding red-green combinations, as color blindness is a common thing. And you don't want somebody to miss out on seeing your entire blocks of headers and the content that's within that, or a caption or something important, simply because they're not able to see it. Definitely a white background is fairly standard, and it's best for high contrast with your text. I've seen people get away with some off-white or gray if they really needed to, but honestly, I've never pulled it off before. And then just being consistent in your color scheme, trying to make things look really even all across the board. For example, you don't want to have a non-alternating system if you're going to do it. You don't want to have disjointed header or caption colors. You want to keep things pretty streamlined. In terms of your graphics and for your photos, try to make sure that things are on there large enough for someone to be able to see it from 3 feet away from you. I know that sounds like a lot, but when you're standing, in discussion to somebody, 3 feet is really a normal proximity. And you don't want people to have to stand up next to you to see exactly what you're able to see when you're standing off to the side, maybe of your poster. Or even worse, if you are using slides at some point and giving an oral presentation and somebody's far away in a seat, you want them to be able to see if you're having to project it. This is what Jesse mentioned earlier that is super important. Your text should support your graphics, not vice versa. Text should ideally be coming from you. You're providing that to somebody else, and they're able to hear kind of like your content in many ways. But don't bombard them with the whole text of what may have been, a paper write-up that you've done, or, full multi-paragraphs. You don't want a poster that's entirely full of that if you can help it. And then using heavy lines in your tables and graphs for easier viewing is another big thing for graphics. I've been guilty of before too, and got feedback in an oral presentation to make sure that my colors were consistent and that I increased kind of like the thickness of them so people could see actually where it was tracking and where things go. And that can make all the difference, folks. It really can. Because if they can't see where your data tables or your graphics are headed to and what they're suggesting, that's your thesis. That's your stuff right there. So this is a zoom in of kind of that important info up at the top that I mentioned, with your title being kind of the largest, and then authors and affiliations beneath that in very similar sizes. Be sure to credit everybody that you work alongside. That's not been something that I've navigated a whole lot. But when I have, I want to make sure that my mentor is listed right beside me, and that I give a shout out to my department beneath that. Your UK logo, we've got multiple of them. You can download a ton. And once you've got them downloaded on your computer, you have them forever. They don't take those away. So I've got a blue million of them that I can try in different colors and different sizes. And I stick on kind of one in that corner too. And that makes everything look very standard, very professional. So here is some of your content. And this is just kind of a rough outline of a little bit of a chronology, but also what you should be containing. In your intro section, if you all have ever written an abstract before, which we've had workshops to go over and will again in the future for sure, and you can always ask us for help. We've got peer advisors that will offer anything that we can to you, especially examples of ours. That's kind of like what my introduction always looks like, is a little bit of the abstract, a little bit of secondary source work, introducing the scenario to people. So it may be laying out the playing field, telling them some statistics, or giving them your thought process as you started your work. All of that could be contained in your intro. Your methods, how did you conduct all of this? That's pretty straightforward, and trying to explain that as thoroughly as possible, but also not taking up your whole work with it. Your data and results, and this gets back to the question earlier. It can be incomplete, and it can be in whatever stage you want it to be in, or wherever you're at. That's totally okay. Just be forthcoming with what you do have, and let people know what is there. Conclusions and future work, that's kind of the phrase that I used in the past, future work, what I was anticipating. Expand on that. If your results are incomplete and if you have more to do, or in conclusions, summarize what you have done and what your findings are. And then references and acknowledgements. If you've received any type of scholarship, if you're a research fellow, if you've worked with people in the Honors College or in the department of, for me, sociology, all of those things listed then and there, shout outs and thanks, basically, like you would put on something. And then references to the works that you got some information from. And that's a pretty straightforward lineup.
Okay.
These,
oh,
sorry, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Emily's just giving you all a lot of design ideas, information. I'm just going to summarize a little bit, and then we're going to apply this. And so that's where the engagement comes in. So I'll want your all's feedback. All right. So number one, we're going to keep it short and simple for your poster or your presentation. You're going to remove all non-essential information. We like to call this removing the fluff. So no fluff words. Keep it basic and simple. Again, your text should support your photos or your graphics. That's where the visual attention comes in. How many of you all have been at a conference and you're walking past a poster and it's like 97% text? That's where the use of the photos and the graphics really come in to attract that visual attention and help relay your research or your creative work. Proofread and spell check. Do it at least, 100 times. Have somebody else review your poster or your presentation to make sure you're not missing something. I know when I'm designing, I sometimes can't see the forest for the trees. So it definitely helps to have a second or a third person just review everything. And again, what Emily touched on, the content goal, 35% text, 45% photos and graphics, and use that empty space to really help you convey your message and the importance of your research. So now we're going to look at some samples, some examples. Here's a poster. So thinking back to what Emily told you, let's apply some of those. And give me some feedback on this. You can unmute yourself or you can type in the text. Emily or Avery, do you all want to watch the chat for me? Let's see. Okay, so tell me about the color first and foremost. Yes, you are correct, Sydney. So the red definitely goes against what Emily said as far as for being mindful of the red-green color blindness. What do you all think about the text sizes, the headings, the use of photos and graphics? So there's not captions for the photos. However, the text beneath and around the photos kind of helps to talk about their research a little bit. The text size is easy enough. This poster definitely would stand, could stand alone, and you can view it from 3 feet apart, 3 feet away. So let's move on. The next one. This one, thankfully, was not a UK student's poster. Bruno, I see you smiling. So give me some feedback on this one, thinking about what Emily's. Amen. Yes. Sydney and Talia? Sydney, for you, bad flow. Looking at this, do you all have any idea where you should start and where you should go next? Right. There's, you've got the colors, you've got way too much text, you've got tiny little pictures that you would have to be standing up close to actually visualize properly. Caroline, yes, the text is super small. You can't even read the headings. So I like to use this as an example just to show you all the difference between the font sizes, the flow, how valuable a proper flow is. Correct. Chase, absolutely. We have no idea where to start and where to end. So this is a great example of what not to do, I think, all the way around. Here is another one of our ambassadors poster that she just created and presented at NCUR. So give me some feedback on Maya's poster. What do you all think about the use of color, the graphics, the headings? Yes. So Josephine, it is busy. I think I know Maya's research, so understanding it's okay to use the arrows to help direct like where to start, where to end. And then there are a lot of graphs, very involved research from the College of Medicine. What do you think about the graphics, like the photo and graphics to text ratio? So overall, I think between the layout, the left to right, the use of graphics, the headers, you can read it. And again, you want people, when you all are presenting, especially at Showcase, you want them to engage with you and not be standing there trying to read your poster. So your presentation should definitely support your poster. All right, and then, so Maya's was quantitative, and now this is a look at qualitative. Courtney Martin is one of our ambassadors. She does qualitative data within the College of Medicine, and she does oral presentations. She used the slide for an oral presentation, so instead of having to click through a slide deck, she puts this single slide up and then is able to talk about why their research is important, the methods that they used, speaks through those, and then the results, and how they've been able to break it down. So if you're giving an oral presentation at Showcase, you don't necessarily have to have 15 slides for your 12-minute total presentation time. It's okay to have a single slide, and then talk your way through that as well. Do you all have questions about this or feedback? How many of you all are planning to do oral presentations? Are the majority of you all, let's see, Sydney, you're doing an oral presentation. The rest of you all pretty much doing posters. Okay, all right. So we are now gonna move on. Avery's gonna take over, give you all some presentation tips.
Yes. So just as Jesse said, and to reiterate also what Emily said, it might sound like I'm a broken record, but it carries over what some of the things that you'll do in a oral presentation. It's basically the same as a poster, except maybe more slides, and you're talking to a room rather than people circulating around you. So some important reminders: please, 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 please talk to your mentor, show your mentor your presentation. I know for me, every presentation that I've done, my mentor, I will give her my rough draft, which is usually terrible, and I give it to her a month in advance. I know we're not a month away, like we're less than a month away. So you guys should be working on your presentations already, and your mentor, I know your mentor got a notification that you were joining the symposium, because I know my mentor, as soon as I registered, she said, "Hey, do you need any help with this right now? I just got this email that you are registered." And I said, "I've got it all," because I'm using a similar presentation and tweaking it with the new results that I've gotten. So please, 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 please go to your mentor, show them your things. They will help you. Don't be scared. Show it to them. Also, as Emily and Jesse said earlier, show people outside of your field, not just your mentor, not just your lab mates. Show them your research and show them your presentation. I know for me, I will show my friends. So I'm in the College of Medicine. I show my friend who knows nothing about gene relatedness, oligonucleotides that I'm working with, and explain the entire process to them. I'll tell my mom, I'll tell my dad, and they'll give me questions like, you didn't tell me what this acronym meant, because in my head, I use that acronym every day. No one needs to be explained what an ASO is, what SAA is, what all of the other 10,000 things that we use are. So definitely show all of your different friends that have different majors than you, and show your parents, show your cousin, talk to your cat. I don't care. Just show it to someone and get feedback from it. So preparing for your presentation, again, talk to your mentor and they will help you with this. But some tips on our end is have a strong opening. I like to start mine with a connection. I'd like to connect it to, so we work with cardiovascular disease. I straight up tell them, why is this important? What are we doing? Aneurysms is what I work in. I will tell them exactly some statistics that I didn't just get offline, statistics that we have found, and why it's important, and really draw in the attention of the people you are speaking to. Also define your terms. Like I said earlier, you might know all of these terms and use them in your everyday vernacular, but you might have someone that's coming in from a student that's just like, hey, I see this in the ballroom. What's going on? They come into your presentation and then they're like, what do you mean you're doing blank, 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 blank? I don't know what that is. So start that off at the beginning. I know in my presentations, sometimes I'll have a slide that just says, first of all, some key terms before we move forward, and I'll go through those key terms. So then later on, boom, they've got it. You can move on with your presentation because you do just have those 12 minutes. You want to get that done in the first 2 after you give them the intro, and then you can just fly on through with everything else and they'll understand. And then finish with a bang. Same with the opening. You want to like bring it all back together. You know, you're gonna go, I did this thing and I did this thing and we have this result, and they might be a little overwhelmed, and then you take a breath and you're like, so what does all of this mean? What did we find, or what did we conclude? And it really, like, having that strong finish and just having a few sentences like, boom, I did this, next steps are this with my research, it really brings it together, and it'll leave the people in your presentation like, oh, okay, like even if you lost them in the beginning or like somewhere along the middle, that bang at the end, they're like, okay, I got it, wonderful stuff. Along with that, your slides, very important to not have too much text. Just like your poster presentation, you don't want to be reading off of your slides. The less text you put, the less likely you are to look back at it and be like, and just start reading, because you will do it if you put that text on there. Keep it graphic and keep yourself having little pointers here and there and be like, so you can remind yourself. Your slides are really, in my opinion, for you to give that presentation, and you, how do I explain that? Like, you are the one that should be talking and they should be looking at you and then referring to your slides like, okay, what you're saying is connecting to that slide. Leave the text out of it. Put the important graphics and like one-liners here and there on your slides. That's what works for me. Again, your mentor might have a different opinion and be like, I need you to put that on there because it's important. But keep your slides to yourself, and like less text, the better, so that you can go through that 12 minutes. And along with that time, please pace yourself. We are working on, you know, there are time slots that we will have. You will have a moderator in your room, 12 minutes for your whole presentation and questions. You want to have about 2 to 3 minutes for questions. That could get in 1 to 5 maybe questions, and they might need that to hear from you. Personally, I love taking questions. They make me sweat a little, but I like to have that thinking, and it'll improve you later on. Be like, oh, they really needed this question. I've heard this question multiple times. Then you prepare for the next presentation that you do. But really time yourself whenever you're giving that presentation to your parents or your roommate. And whenever they're asking questions, have them time you and have them cut you off right at 12 minutes. But you really want to get it down to less than that for the questions. Presenting your research. So I've already said a little bit about this, and it might seem like, of course, you should be excited, but they can hear it through your voice. If you're smiling and you're excited about your research and you're like, listen, I love what I do. Here's this thing. It's so amazing. Look at what I've done during my graduate career. They can tell, and it just makes the presentation that much more inviting and entertaining, and it really keeps the person that's in that seat, like it keeps them in their seat. So it's really important to like smile, breathe through your interview, and just give the presentation. Along with that, smiling also makes you sound more confident. You might not even be confident in your research. I know the first time I presented, I was so scared, but I just smiled, and I had practiced so much that I was confident in my research. I had people that made me confident. Tell your friends to send you a text before, motivate you. it will make you confident. So speak with confidence during your presentation. Even if you aren't, fake it till you make it. Be as confident as you possibly can be. And that also will show through your oral presentation. Emily said this before with having text on your graphics and really letting them speak for themselves. But since you are giving the presentation, for an oral presentation, you want to explain everything that's on your slide. You can't just put up a picture and be like, look at this bar graph. They don't have time to read everything that's in the bar graph, so you're gonna want to thoroughly explain it, and it really just helps the person stay engaged. Sorry. Please breathe. I know I really iterated that we have 12 minutes for your presentation, but you still don't want to become red-faced and not breathe through it, because then you'll start to stumble over your words. So take a breath between every slide. If you decide to have multiple slides in your presentation, it'll really help you. And at the end, acknowledge the people that you work with, just as you do with a poster. You want to tell people, sure, it is your research, but you had help along the way, and you should really thank them for that help. I know personally, I thank everyone that's in my lab, anyone that showed me how to fill a sample, to someone that showed me how to do something in Excel. If they were in the lab, I said thank you so much, because without them, you probably couldn't conduct your research. So it's really a courtesy to acknowledge everyone that supported you. So that's good.
So for anyone that's needing a poster printed for showcase, that deadline is April 18th. That's in 11 days by 11:55 p.m. That is a hard, firm cutoff because we have in the office, we have 2 poster printers, and they will run nonstop until showcase, trying to print everybody's poster. On our website, this is the link that not only has the poster templates, but also the poster printing guidelines. If you don't hear anything else tonight, know that if your poster exceeds 36 inches by 48 inches, it cannot be printed and will be returned for resizing. So as you all are designing your posters, keep those dimensions in mind. They cannot exceed 36 inches by 48 inches, okay? And all of the templates on our website meet those size requirements. Does anybody have questions about poster printing? Feel free to unmute and ask. So once you've submitted your poster and it's printed, then you'll receive an email from me that lets you know that your poster is printed and ready to be picked up, and you all will pick them up in our office, which is on the 2nd floor of Funkhauser building. All right, and now questions. Do you all have questions about poster design, oral presentation, slide design, the showcase itself? I know I sent out emails to everybody that's registered to present. Anybody? Okay.
Sydney asked a question in the chat.
Okay. Do you know when they will? Do you know when they will let you know if you got a presentation time or not? So Sydney, did you not receive an email from me telling you today what session you're scheduled for? I'm not seeing you, Sydney. I don't, okay. So hang out at the end and I will double check for you, okay? And then Haley, hi Haley. Sydney, who's your partner?
I am. I did receive it.
You did, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
does it Does it only send to one person?
No, I thought I got all of the co-presenters, but if you want to forward that, Bruno, to Sydney, that would be great.
All right.
All right, thank you. And then Haley, Avery or Emily, do you all want to answer Haley's?
I can answer that. So for my presentations that I've done, I did a 15-minute presentation that I did last semester, and it was 15 slides. Not every slide was a minute, and I did have the whole 15 minutes plus questions. So it's really up to you and how detailed you want to be in your presentation, because you don't want to sound rushed. That's for sure, because everyone will get a glazed over look and just wait for you to be like, any questions? So I would really narrow it down as much as possible. I had like a couple slides for my results. Really, my graphics were the most slides. Anything that was text, like it would be in a poster, like the intro and everything was all on like one slide, and I went through it, and then everything else was things that you can talk through. So I would try to keep it to a slide a minute or less, because some slides will need a little more than that. Does that answer your question?
And then Madison, I'm going to put the link in chat, and then I'm going to screen share so you all can see all of the different templates. Okay, so there's the link. And then let me screen share real quick so you all can see this. So this takes you to that same page where the link will take you. And if you scroll down, here are the poster examples. And then underneath that are the poster templates. They're downloadable in PowerPoint format, and the sizes are here. They are 100% customizable. So you all can move columns, you can move headers, however you want. Here's the basic, just the very traditional UK poster. And then the Morrison style that Emily had touched on. Here are some examples of that, those templates for you. And again, you can absolutely edit and customize this to meet your all's needs, whether for graphics, for photos and text. We tried to make this easy. So you just download it and it's in PowerPoint format. Questions about these? Nope. I lost my chat, so I can't see. And then I'm also going to upload a file for you all. This is the poster design workshop PDF, and this highlights all of the tips and the design basic information that Emily and Avery and I have gone over for you all. So as you all are working through designing your poster, your slides, and your presentation, this kind of is a nice thing to help guide you in that process. You are very welcome. And any other questions? I know we've just given you all a lot of information. Are you all excited about Showcase, or are you all like, oh, mercy? Bruno's shaking his head. Okay, I like seeing that. Harrison, I got a smile. Okay, Bethany is a party. I agree. Showcase is a party. Do you all have any questions about what to expect at Showcase? Do you all want to know what to expect at Showcase? So you all will check in depending on which session you are. If you're a poster, then you will have a designated poster kiosk number. There are QR codes for the digital abstract book for you all to share. If you're doing an oral presentation, that will also be streamed via Zoom. So if you've got friends and family that want to participate, support, engage with you, we will be sharing that Zoom link for you all to be able to share as well. And then everybody gets to enjoy the catered food. And historically, we've had students that signed up to present at Showcase just because of the amazing food. So we like to spoil you as well as celebrate you. All righty. Okay, if in between now and April 18th, you all have any questions about uploading your poster, anything like that, feel free to reach out. We are here to support you all. The recording for this will be posted to our YouTube, and then we will share it on social media as well. All right. Any other questions? If you all will have a one-on-one question, feel free to stay after. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us. We will see you all at Showcase.